Welcome to Sports Night. I'm Seth Nutting. Wartburg has NCAA playoff expectations this season, but they're the easiest team on the first half of Buena Vista's schedule. The Beavers began 0-4 against 4 ranked teams heading into Wartburg's homecoming game. The new mascot, Sir Victor, getting the crowd fired up in his debut. The Knights go 3 and out on their first possession, but the Beavers muff the punt and Wartburg takes a quick 6-0 lead. Later in the first, Ben Seats somehow hangs on through a vicious hit in the end zone, and Buena Vista responds to go up 7-6. Then it's Jacobsmeyer to Stiegel for their second connection of the day. This time Stiegel gets on the turf to make the grab. With the 2-point conversion, Wartburg leads 17-14 at the break. Knights up 10 now, but BV still hanging around. Bobby Brown finds Adam Cave in the end zone. These two hooked up for 2 touchdowns, and this one cuts Wartburg's lead to 3 late in the third quarter. That's when Stiegel made his biggest play of his biggest game. Jacobsmeyer hits him on a quick pass, then he slips through 1 tackle, outruns a few more defenders, cuts upfield, and avoids 3 more to take it to the house for a 43-yard touchdown, giving the Knights a 30-21 lead. After Jacobsmeyer was nicked up late in the game, Logan Schrader came in, delivering the final blow with a 10-yard toss to Donald Miller. Wartburg improves to 4-1 with a 37-29 homecoming victory over Buena Vista. The Knights play at Luther this Saturday. Coming up on Sports Night, the number 2 ranked women's cross-country team took to the trail this weekend. How would they respond without their top runner? And the volleyball team was in action last Tuesday. Could they keep up their recent streak of dominance in the Iowa Conference? Sports Night is back in 2 minutes. On homecoming, Wartburg hosted its annual Dan Houston Invite. Both teams came into the meet ranked nationally, and boy would they show it. The women came into the meet as the number 2 ranked team in the nation. The Knights came up 2 points shy of a perfect score, winning the meet with 17 points. They were led by Sammy Brewitt, who took first place overall with a time of 21 minutes and 59 seconds. Aaron Sawyers, Hattie Vodder, and Serena Goetzel finished the meet 2nd, 3rd, and 4th respectively for Wartburg. Sam Reed led the way on the men's side, placing 2nd for the Knights with a time of 25 minutes and 43 seconds. Chase Mosier and Ryan Clobberdance finished 8th and 9th, both with a time of 25 minutes and 59 seconds. However, it wouldn't be enough placing 2nd behind the Iowa State Running Club. The Knights will be back in action this Saturday at the UW Lacrosse Invite. So what makes both the men's and women's cross-country teams so dominant? This week on Inside the Numbers, Nathan Ford shows us what makes Wartburg just so good.
The half-mile stretch of 220th Street west of Wartburg College is normally a quiet place, other than an occasional tractor or farm animal. But on this warm October day, it's full of some self-described crazy college kids.
Cross-country is something you have to be a little bit crazy to do.
Today, these runners are conquering West Hill 7 times.
And they don't get timeouts, and they don't get breaks.
Head coach Steve Johnson says his program has some of the toughest workouts not only in the state, but in the nation. Today's workout begins with a 3-mile warm-up, continues with the hill workout, and ends with a 3-mile cool-down.
From what I hear, we do a lot more. We had an athlete here that because of her major in turf management, transferred to Iowa State and went out the program there, and now they're a little bit better and they do more, but they were shocked at how much training we did.
It's kind of crazy because I have friends that run at like D1 schools, and we talk about our workouts, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you guys do that too?" And I was like, "Yeah, we do that too." And
that training has paid off. Wartburg has consistently been the most successful cross-country program in Iowa over the last 2 decades, including a national runner-up finish by the women's team last season. The runners say the training days make the races almost seem easy.
I think the goal of every hard workout like that is really just to make it hurt more than a race ever can. That way when you get to the race, that's something that Sam says a lot, when you get to the race, you know you've already hurt way worse than that in practice.
When Wartburg's runners step off the bus on race day, they know their days on 220th Street are about to pay off. Reporting for Sports Night,
WXC on 3. 1, 2, 3.
WXC! I'm Nathan Ford.
We'll be back in 30 seconds. The volleyball team came away with the win Tuesday night against Buena Vista, but would their string of consecutive sets in the Iowa Conference be broken? It was homecoming week for the Knights volleyball team, and they would not disappoint the home crowd. Wartburg would take the lead early with freshman Claire Willebring getting the kill here. Wartburg would stay aggressive throughout the set, winning 25-15. In the second, the Knights would sneak their way past the Beavers as senior libero Marissa Shinstein gets the point here. Fellow senior Ramey Seek took over from there, placing the ball perfectly between two Beaver defenders, then spiking the ball with authority to end the second 25-12. In the third, Buena Vista would give the Knights a run for their money, with Maddie Bardoli and Chelsea Clayton getting kills to take an early lead. It wouldn't be enough, however, as the Knights would go on an 11-4 run to end the match, 25-16, defeating BV in 3 straight sets. The team returns to action next week on the road against Luther. Both the men's and women's soccer teams were in action this past week. Let's get to the highlights. On Wednesday, the women's soccer team was in action against non-conference opponent McAllister. The Knights' defense was tested early as junior goalkeeper Katie Reinert gets a nice save here to keep the game scoreless. On the offensive end, sophomore Brittany Fresh sparked the Knights early as she scored her 3rd goal of the season to put the Knights up 1-0. The score remained 1-0 until the start of the second half, but McAllister would storm back with Bonnie Gale and Lily Jilk leading the charge. McAllister would prove to be too much for the Knights, and with the last-second goal by Jilk, McAllister would seal the victory over the Knights by a score of 3-1. After the men's and women's teams picked up road wins against Central on Saturday, the men were back in action the following day, taking on non-conference opponent Bethel. President Colson was out to watch the soccer team face off for a Sunday afternoon match. We picked things up with Wartburg down 1-0 when Dan Nadeau tries to tie the game up but slips while trying to kick the ball. Wartburg would take a 1-0 deficit into halftime, but the Knights' fortune would start to change when Chris Nothnick puts his pass right on the money to Zabina Zari for the perfect strike off his foot to tie things up at 1. Then just a minute later, freshman Paris Martins gets the ball past the pursuing Bethel goalie and kicks the ball into the empty net to go up 1. That's all they would need as Wartburg goes on to win this one 2-1. The squad will play again next Saturday at the University of Dubuque. That's all the time we have for this edition of Sports Night. Have a good night, Cedar Valley.